Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is our weekend workout, or anytime thereafter, where we have our body weight, and that's all we need for today. So let's find a little bit of space. We'll get started with a light warm-up. We'll get some crawls, some legs working in there, and ultimately towards that handstand task. But let's take our time getting there.
And we'll start with the head as a nice little body wave, then into the rib cage, then we'll get to the hips and the hamstrings, and ending up on the floor. Hands could be at the sides or just lightly clasped behind the back, and initiate this movement with the most modest chin tuck, looking towards the floor. Then press the face forward, that ugly sort of text neck position, into extension looking up to the ceiling. Then tuck a chin and flex through that head neck, and then push the face forward and repeat one more time. Chin tuck down, extension forward, all the way to the ceiling, and then reach the crown to the ceiling looking back straight ahead. Next, a modest chin tuck as well, but this time through the rib cage. We'll flex the rib cage onto those hips or a forward bend, and then an extension, pushing the heart forward, and then an extension up, not back, but up. And then from there, we'll flex down, keeping the abs on. We'll press the heart forward in that T-spine extension, and we'll do that one more time here as we flex and extend, finish up towards extension, and then return the rib cage back onto the hips. Now lightly set up that hinge position, and maybe the hands could go onto the knees for some balance. Currently, Laura and I are both set up in that cow or anterior hip position, and lightly tuck under. And from the tuck, do the tip, and the tuck, and the tip.
Just the pelvis.
Just the pelvis. Not quite a twerk, but just gently moving those hips, but keeping the spine nice and stable through the abs, and maybe the arms can feel that brace too. Then from there, in a cow position, let's press through and finish tall. We'll get to the floor now through our forward fold, and we'll initiate that through the crown of the head first, through the rib cage, the hips, and saying hello to those straight legs, hamstrings as we get to the floor next. Initiate the chin tuck, then a little rounding shape through the rib cage. Keep the knees straight. Interpret a wall or a firewall behind you as you can't hinge backwards. And just at the bottom, maybe let the arms dangle. And at this point, maybe just casually bend the knees. Then, keeping the hips as that cow tip as allowed, safely, slowly, straighten the knees. And then bend the knees. And then straighten the knees. And bend the knees. And anyhow that's available for you, let's get into a position, also perhaps called the hungry bear. Fingertips for me are going to face backwards, with my hips in about where my squat stance might be later. Right now, light effort, keep that upper body still and have the knees fall one side. Then from there, alternate, windshield wiping those legs towards the other side. As allowed, go a little further, but keeping one butt cheek on the ground in this moment, and then two butt cheeks on the ground in the middle. And in this moment, my right, or that one that's going that internal rotation, probably lifts up a little bit. Repeat that once or twice more. And how are the hands feeling today? Are we providing those movements to prevent the shrug? And one more time, the other side. And then let's just finish tall in the middle. Take a single leg out front, and with the other leg across in that figure four position. Lace the fingers between those toes if they'll fit. Maybe you have tight toes or big fingers. And sitting up nice and tall, let's draw that ankle circle. As we're drawing this ankle circle, reach towards the body, towards the ceiling, away from the body, and then back to the floor. And as we're doing that, making sure that the knee, or showing itself at that shin bone, isn't moving. I'll switch that direction now, and I'll move it towards my body, then the floor, then away, and then up, and drawing those nice circle shapes, connecting that left hand in my case to, again, this right foot. At the end of that, just wiggle that out, straighten out the other leg, and repeat on the other side. Lace the fingers between the toes if that's available. You could also just grab the top of the foot. And again, this way I'll be pointing my foot, pulling my foot towards the ceiling, then back down towards the floor and around. 3 or 4 in a row, maybe with your eyeballs, look at the shin and avoid the shin moving too much, In this case, we're just trying to manipulate through the ankle. And then repeating in the other direction, away, up, in, down. Keep breathing. Enjoy that nice little stretch. My first one was perhaps a little on the crunchy side, and as I do a couple more, I can loosen that up and finish with a toe wiggle. Last movements for me here, let's get onto the hands. Lauren will have us crawling a little bit later, but right now, go fingertips, callus lines, full hands into that wrist extension. First knuckle push-ups, keep the arms straight. Press the fingertips and those callus lines into the floor and do that 1 or 2 more times, and then push away. And at this place, just keep the rib cage down and the hips extended. Last movement, it's the fists like a gorilla onto the peace sign. So it's a peaceful gorilla here. As we open up the fingers, then we can flex over the wrist. That's the stretch. And we're always looking to add strength in this practice as you press into the floor to stack the knuckles back. Repeat on the other side, keeping the elbow straight. Flex over the back of the hand and push down to go up. Repeating one last time, flex. And then straighten out into extension there. And then the one more time, the flex, back over. And maybe let's just sit on those knees and wait for Lauren to tell us what to do next.
Let's sit here.
Oh.
Have a coffee.
Ooh.
No, we need to get those hips going a little bit. So I'd like to stay on our bottom and then stretch our legs out into our splits position. So let's come back down here, extend those legs out, and this time we'll hinge forward. So we have that long spine, the kneecaps facing the ceiling, and let's lightly hinge forward. That means as we do that, it's like our spine has a rod through it and we're keeping our spine nice and straight. We're not showing how far we can reach just because our spine bends. So let's reach along, keeping the kneecaps and the toes up towards the ceiling. Then try to hover here with your own power and push yourself back up to tall. Let's try that one more time. Try to use your own power, hinge as you rotate the legs open, hinge, and then press back up. We'll take our torso and rotate it one direction, and we'll try to do the same thing with those light hands on the floor or without. A hinge over that leg. And then push down into the floor to press yourself up to tall. Rotate torso to center, rotate torso to the other side. Use your hinge in that flexing position. Push down, press up to tall, and one last time in center, seeing if we found a millimeter more space. Make sure those legs don't roll in with you. You open them up as you hinge forward, and then push yourself back to tall. Let's bring those together, and now let's get those hammies even more fired up with our first planky inchworm. So what that means is we'll need a little bit of space in front of us, but you can also do this in one spot. Our hands are underneath our shoulders, our hips are up in line, our butt cheeks are squeezed, and we're just bracing and holding that plank position. For 3, pulling the floor together. 2, 1, now hands are gonna stay, and you're gonna walk your feet as close to your hands as possible. Ooh, take a second, and then peel those hands away and start walking back out to another plank. And in that plank position again, let's gather up the tension. So butt cheek squeeze. This time without moving, pull your right hand to your left hip and your left hand to your right hip for 3, 2, hips lift. Hopefully this time we can get our feet a little bit closer to our hands. And we have one more, and if you can't walk forward, you could walk your feet backwards, but we're going one more time out into that plank position. And now let's alternate. So we'll pull the floor together in our parallel fashion, right to right, left to left, and then pull our right hand to our left hip and our left hand to our right hip, back to parallel, back to crossbody, hips lift, feet walk to hands as close as they can go this time, and then tuck your chin. Use your abs on the front and the back of the spine to slowly stack yourself back up. Whoa.
Very cool. Very,
nice.
Very good. Squats are also a mainstay of today's practice, and let's continue to open the squats, similar to those splits. So where'd your feet like to be in that squat? And perhaps through this drill, you'll find out a little bit more about your favorite stance. Let's pull ourselves down, take a breath. Not all the way low, like a campfire squat, but just nice and low and strong. As we stand up, let's just pull those legs together. Then pick up, working on that single leg balance, nice dynamic movements. As we'll pull ourselves low, and then back together. Pick up a foot, open stance. This time, let's try to find that single leg balance, cramping the standing leg, knee to the side on the other, and a leg point, and a straight leg to then a bended leg on the landing. Stiff leg on the stability leg, straighten the other, and land. Final one, try to find that knee. Have a high tension foot of your choice, point or dorsiflex, and a straight leg, and a land, and final one on the other side. If you had to use a balance aid, that's okay too, and we'll straighten and squat, and just stand up through the middle, and shake out. Squats to follow.
Let's take off of that squat and do a crawl that we have yet to do this semester, which is our lateral monkey movement. So that means we'll come down to our squat position again. And to do this, let's just pattern it out nice and slow. The pattern is going to be hand, hand, and then foot, foot. And we just get back to that squat position. Let's add a little bit more of an arm reach. A hand, hand, maybe a 1 more millisecond up in the air. And one more time, a hand, hand, and a foot, foot. As we make our way back, try to find a little bit more air time, but be safe, always coming back to our squat position. So a hand, hand, and a foot, foot. We're landing softly on the floor. We're reaching, and we're coming back to that squat. One last time in this direction, ending up in that squat, and then pushing ourselves up to tall. Whew. Nice.
My legs might say I want a break, but let's actually go back right to them. And this time, let's give ourselves a little bit of a runway space here to do our horse stance walk. So we'll start with our feet in that V or turned out position. And on a single leg, bend it and reach the other leg forward. Then pull onto that leg, pushing through the back, hips and shoulders stay square. Trail that leg underneath, keeping it bent. Transfer your weight to the other leg and feel the pull and the push and the knees together. Other side, toe ball heel, pull, push, leg underneath. Repeat one more time, toe ball heel, pull and push. Let's just stand up for a little break and let's reverse that to the back. I'll be bending on my right leg, reaching my left leg back. I'll press into the front leg, transferring weight to the back one and pull under. Reach to the back. Push forward to move back, together, making sure you have space. Let's do that again. Push forward together. And final repetition. Push to the front to straighten, bend both together, and finish nice and tall. And shake. And back to the crawls.
Those crawls. Let's get those kick-ups warmed up into our tripod position each time. So to get to the floor here, let's use our hip hinge. So we'll chop those hips back. We'll walk ourselves out into our plank. And first, we'll just hold that plank again. So in our plank position, cheeks are squeezed, abs are braced. Now we'll lift a foot up, reaching towards the ceiling, squaring up those hips, pointing the toes, reaching, and then pulling ourselves back into our plank. Trying to get shoulders towards over fingertips, flicking the floor away. As we reach up again, hips are square. Pull back through. One more time on each side here. Reach, hips stay square here. So that may limit how high you can reach, but that squareness is important for our handstand so we don't tip side to side. We'll pull back to our plank and we'll hold for 3, 2. Let's step our feet a bit apart. Use our hinge to step up, to stand up. So that means verticalized shins, hips drive through, tall. Whew.
Whew. And from those hands, it's making more work on those feet and those knees and the hips, but hopefully the muscle groups that connect them and not those joints specifically. Always check in. So working on the single leg squat now, let's pull up to the ankle position. And again, we can use that balance aid at the side if we need. From here, let's go knee over toe. The knee is currently forward, so let's open up that leg to the side. Then close up to the middle, push the hip through, finish tall, and repeat one more on that side. Single leg squat down, open that leg to the side. Breathe, hold, time under tension, then close to the middle, extend the hip through. Stand tall onto 2 feet, perhaps a freely shaking wiggle moment in the middle, and then same thing now, other side. It's knee towards over toe. Open the leg to the side, keep the hips and the shoulders squared forward. Close it up and extend the hip, cramping the butt cheek with your hand helping or just that little reminder. Again, one more time, knee over toe. Open the leg to the side, close that leg back up, extend all the way through, finish tall, more squats to follow.
All right, we're gonna come back down to the floor and we're gonna do one reversed plank position that we did a couple weeks ago. So let's try to get to the floor with no hands, safely, whatever that means to you. And then once we're down here, we'll sit in our crab position. So that's feet forward, knees bend, hands facing backwards, shoulders shrug, and then shoulders push down, engaging lats. Then we'll push into our feet and our hands to hover our cheeks off the floor. Now from here, we're going to lift our hips up in the air. And for this first one, let's just hold. I like to look towards the ceiling on this. We're trying to get our hips up nice and high. And then we'll pull ourselves back down. Let's get our butt towards our hands, not through our hands, but towards. And then let's lift them up again. Hips come up. This time, could we stay up here and try to lift a leg and hold? And then switch a leg. Try not to twist or dip when you do that. And down. And now this time, we're gonna bring those hips all the way through. You might have to adjust your hands as they come back underneath of us. Now let's imagine, or let's try to hold those feet off the floor for 4, 3, 2, hips come back through, and then down. Whew, that's work.
Go ahead, sorry.
Then don't stand up if Ian says don't stand up.
And let's not imagine too much more, and instead, let's just adopt a nice sitting tall posture with a high tension foot and straight knee. Lauren has the point, or did have the point, and now we both have that dorsiflex. From the hip, let's do the turnout, kneecap trending towards the side of the room. And from there, looking straight ahead, let's lift that leg and hold for 3 and 2, and with control, return it to the floor. Sit tall one more time, safely straighten that leg, pulling up the kneecap, and one more time, lift it, hold it, ask permission to lift it higher, even if that's in your imagination, and then down. Lauren's cue there to tighten up that foot shape showed up also in that 3-point down dog Lauren shared a second ago. I did think my toe was pointed. When I heard her say it, I did it more, and sure enough, there's always a little bit more range. So tighten up the slack on the knee in the sense of keeping the knee straight at the pulling up of the cap. Then breathe, lift. This is my easy leg. Do you have a hard or an easy leg? And then come back down. And by easy, I mean less challenging. Still always challenging here, so let's do that one more time. Let's lift it up, breathe, and straight, and that dorsiflex tension, and return it back down. And then it's back to Lauren.
All right, now we have to stand up with no hands. We got down with no hands. Let's stand up with no hands. Okay. And now as we approach the last third of our practice here today, let's start getting into those kick-up variations. If you're not into the kick-up variations today, as always, repeat some of those crawls, some of the crawls we did today, some of the crawls we've done over the past 5 weeks. But we are going to start with that tripod entry. So we'll do that I go, you go. So join one of us as we do our tripod position. So hands are on the floor, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. As always, start today's practice with just getting off the floor. Seeing how wrists are feeling, seeing how your head's feeling, thinking about it, and then as you gain that confidence, we can kick up a little bit higher. Whether you're alternating your takeoff leg by doing the scissor, or you're doing a couple on one leg and then a couple on the other, do make sure you practice both sides here. Push the floor away to stand up tall.
That was 6 total reps for me, 3 on each side. And again, as most times in this practice, keep your volume low and the integrity of each repetition high. The trailing leg Lauren has there will help to ensure, not foolproof like, but just making sure that if we do have to go over, we'll go back to where we came from and not all the way over. Bailing within the practice is somewhat inevitable, but be careful and slow how you accumulate those reps to get overhead.
Let's do that tripod entry one more time. Same routine, about 4 to 6 of them. Take your time, think about stacking those shoulders, keeping your arms straight. And your goal is to get your hips on top of your head here. That's how you ultimately end up towards that handstand. If we do end up there with one leg, let's try to reach that leg to noon on the clock. So we're trying to reach up to the ceiling once we are up there. We're breathing, and again, that soft landing each time. If your hands are tired, come down, take a sooner break. But last one or two here, and then shaking that out.
Those hips over the head cue is great, as is that extension through the T-spine, or what I was thinking there was pressing my heart forward, just like in that initial phase of today's warm-up. Avoid the excessive lumbar curve of the banana shape, and really aim in our practice today, in those other mobility drills, to extend through the T-spine, because it's safer and stronger.
Whew.
You done?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go back to the squats. Similar movement, but this time with a straight leg out to the front. So we pulled up a leg to the ankle, standing on a single leg. Use the balance aid if we need. From there, we did our knee over toe shape. This time, let's straighten out the leg, open it from the front to the side. Let's maintain that turnout. Bring it back to the front, return it underneath, push through to finish tall. One more time. Knee over toe. Straighten the leg out front. Open to the side and breathe. Then repeat to the front, underneath, hip through, shake, and switch. Low numbers of reps. It's okay. You could do more in a different practice, but just showing those progressions we would use to the single leg squat. The straight leg out front. Open the leg to the side, keep the hip forward. Then bring the leg to the side, underneath, and extend through. Repeating one last time, it's down on a single leg. Straightening of the other, high tension those feet. I see the nice gorgeous point on Lauren there. Then to the front, underneath, push through, finish tall, shake it out.
Oh, all right, so we practiced that tripod entry. Now let's practice the step-in entry. Fun. So in this position, I like to say, get into your hollow shape before you even take it off the floor. 1 foot forward, and then from here, you're thinking that up and over. And again, just start with a little bit of air as you just get used to what that feels like today. So we're trying to land through the hands softly. Absorb the landing. Breathe, reach to the sky. And switch those legs during this practice here today, like we mentioned before. Push the floor away to stand all the way up to tall on each rep there. And again, that 4 to 6 number is great.
And shake it out in between. I go, you go gives us that opportunity for rest and to check in on form and to see where our training partner, in this case Lauren, is doing really well. Gorgeous pointed toes, nice straight legs, and it's very soft on the landing and soft on the press away, making sure we're always in control.
Woo, woo.
Right on.
One more time.
2 sets, sounds good.
So back to that step-in entry for team and check in before you go. How are your wrists feeling? Still feeling good. And again, engage that core before you even tip forward. Rib cage down, hips extended. We're trying to maintain that shape as we get towards upside down. Reach to the ceiling. If you don't want to do something like that, always leave that leg behind you and it'll pull you back down. Make sure you do have a little bit of room on each side and no low ceilings with a ceiling fan on. Or off even.
Safety first. Safety first. So Lauren's repping out one last little set here, and we're just going to shake it out and rest and not critique, but check in with some amazing form. Sweet. Lauren is doing that nice scissor. It buys us just a little bit more of that hang time, that Michael Jordan style hang time, just in the air, almost defying gravity. But because Lauren is so taut and pressing down through the hands and pointing through the toes, we'll end up being able to be upside down, even if it's in our imagination first, but then it will happen, we promise. It's one more repetition on that squat. Last one here. Let's take a leg to the ankle. Let's do our knee bend over toe. Let's straighten out the leg out front, and we'll stand up tall with it in that front position. Return it underneath. Same thing to the side. We'll go knee over toe, open to the side, and straighten and stand up tall. Out to the side, bend it, return it, and finish tall. Same thing last time, other side, knee over toe, get to your safe low. Straighten the leg out front, and nice and tall to finish. Bend it, return through the squat one last time, open to the side, straighten the leg at the knee, extend through the hip, close it, bend it, adduct under, finish tall. Next time, shake it out, wiggle, keep working on those single leg squats. It could just be the static hold. Static hold with our knee bend, moving or opening through the hips. Spend time under tension to convince your body it's safe and strong to be low.
So as we usually do, we end each practice with about 30 seconds of fun. Today's 30 seconds could be more squats, hanging out in your low squat. They could be some of those crawls we practiced today or in previous sessions, or we could try to hold that handstand for up to 30 seconds. That might mean you're doing kick-ups for 30 seconds, which we'll see how today's goes. So I might be with you there. We're going to start in 5 seconds, putting about 30 seconds on the clock. Build that wrist endurance. Let's go in 3, 2, and then up.
Oh, jeez. Okay, looking good. That's a good line, Lauren. I'm going to chase that line.
5 more seconds. One more kick up.
One more kick up. I want one more kick up too.
Last kick up. Oh, nice. And remember, progress with that handstand doesn't always look the same. Some days it's great. Other days it's a work in progress. So continue doing it. That's the most important thing you can do.
That's it. This is the end of our 3rd session of the week. And next week, we have a couple more before we take a little break. We get to go traveling Spain and Germany with family and friends. Looking forward to seeing calisthenics parks, architectural sites, and tasting our way across the European continent. So if you're at the calisthenics park in Madrid, whoa, check it out. We might be there too.
You'll recognize us.
Oh yeah.
Tuesday and Thursday this week, we have our kettlebell class and our bar class. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Check out our Patreon account and as well our website where we post some blog entries every 2 weeks. Until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And let's train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.